heading over to Seattle in a couple hours to go see my brothers, check in on this new business we purchased at the end of the year. We're going to be converting it into a space bar, saunas, ice bath, breath work, coaching. So hopping up there. So we'll turn this into a vlog. I'll take the camera, we'll go and document that a little bit. En route to the airport, pushing it a little bit. Had a client that squeezed in, so I'm not one to prep or prepare that much when traveling, throw a few things in the bag. But on the way to Seattle for the weekend, so gonna park it there. You know, Ubers be bopping these days. It's cheaper to drive, park, and have your car ready to go, super convenient, because they wanted $100 to the airport. That ain't happening. So we're driving, hopefully in time, got that clear, and I'm just assuming everything's gonna go super smooth. Get on this flight, head up to Seattle, be productive on the flight. At least this is what I'm telling myself. Get on that Wi-Fi. I got 2 new programs that I need to write for a couple clients, so handle that and then touch down in what will be probably a 5 p.m. dark, rainy, cold Seattle. Parking to gate, 5 minutes. Let's go. PR.
100 grams.
Made it up to Seattle here at my brother's house. Parents picked me up from the airport, and to be expected, pouring down rain, cold, drizzly. Every time I come back and the weather's like this, it just makes me wonder how I pulled this off. How was this my norm? Just, I guess, an example in how we get shaped by our environment. It can either harden us or weaken us. In California, Southern California, that Los Angeles sunshine will definitely make you a little soft. Logging in some mileage on the bikes, really trying to wrap my mind around training for this marathon on March 17th. That's 6-7 weeks left. And this groin strain or whatever I got going on up in here in this nether region is not going away. So I don't want to bow out, but I definitely cannot run. I want to figure out a way to get this done. And I think just taking the principles. So when you're training for something like the marathon, you're just training energy systems. And yes, there is some specificity that you are training. This is why you're running, because you are going to be running for 26.2 miles. So there's definitely some upside in doing that. However, you can replace that movement with some other form of conditioning to train this aerobic system, an anaerobic system, because you're going to be training both. And that's why when you're in a build prep, you're not just running at one pace, or at least you shouldn't be if you're following a decently structured program. You're going to be doing some speed work, you're going to be doing some long runs, you're going to be doing some short recovery runs. There's going to be quite a few different workouts that consist of your training program. So seeing how I can't run without a lot of discomfort, why don't I just apply those principles and train on another piece of equipment. So what I'm thinking is, for example, these long runs would typically be, a couple hours on the feet running. Why don't I just mimic that? I can even go back to my past workouts and see what I know what my average heart rate is, but I can just like look at those points to reference and then try to mimic that from a distance standpoint or from a time training standpoint. So I can get on the bike, try to maintain an average heart rate of 141 beats for say 2 hours and just train that system. There will be definitely some crossover that will benefit me if I can physically go and run this marathon. Won't fully translate, but I think I can pull it off. So let's consider this series switching from Los Angeles Marathon prep via running to Los Angeles Marathon prep via the bike. And I don't have a bike like the Peloton at the house. I have an assault bike, which sounds horrible to be putting in this type of time on an assault bike, but you work with what you got. So that's the goal. I'm gonna rewrite my training program. I'm still gonna have my zone 2 workouts, my recovery workouts, my hill workouts, my tempo workouts, my long runs, long rides now. And we're gonna see where that's at. I feel like it's a win-win situation. Extra circulation. This is not painful on my groin, hip, whatever I got going on. So I can do this pretty easily. Continue to strengthen the legs, continue to strengthen the cardiovascular system, and then just really try to rehab this in between. Been doing a lot of banded mobility drills, really getting in there, flossing. So I think if I stay off the pavement, I might be able to pull this off. I got about 20 minutes in earlier before my flight. So I want to get another 40 in tonight. So just crushed a burrito with the family at a local little Mexican restaurant. Nice, thick, wet burrito. So keeping the momentum going on my burrito a day. But let's put in a little work. All right.
100 grams.
All right, y'all. Scared, didn't you? We're getting some work done over at We Sweat, West Seattle. This is a new business that we just purchased in the same neighborhood that we own one of our gyms, as well as one of our rental properties and the Fit Bar Superfood Cafe. So North Admiral District of West Seattle. have the basis of a good foundation of our gyms. This new business was operating as a sauna studio and cold plunge studio. So, we know that business. So we're going to convert it into a space bar wellness. And that process is going to be a little bit messy, a little bit tricky, but some of the benefits of buying this existing business is that they already have a foundation of members. On average, we're doing maybe about 15K in revenue. We took this over in January and we'll probably hit 20K this month, so already positive signs. We haven't really made the announcement that we are new owners, and we haven't really shared any of the membership offerings or services or announcement to our other businesses that we have taken over this business as well. So when we do so, we are expecting an influx of new memberships because again, our other businesses are health and wellness oriented. So we're creating this ecosystem of fitness, nutrition, and recovery businesses within this neighborhood, and we should get a lot of crossover joint memberships. Once the transition starts to happening, obviously a rebranding and then kind of onboarding into our app, which is Spacebar Wellness, or booking, seamless booking, as well as integration with a coaching app that will be able to deliver breath work protocols. This is the same coaching app that I use to personally for my personal clients and writing programs for them. So the beauty in that is that we'll be able to meet people that are coming in maybe a little bit more on the recovery front or wanting to have a little bit more of a calm rest recovery type of experience that might gravitate towards We Sweat or the soon to be Spacebar Wellness, and then still offer them on the back end other things that we know to be very helpful for your health and your wellness, which is going to be eating well. So within the coaching app, Spacebar Wellness coaching app, there's nutrition programs, there's nutrition tracking. We can get in there and kind of help you track macros and build out a program for you, and then also personal training programs. We can deliver that as well. Like I said, I'm already using that for my personal clients. Now we're going to be able to just offer that for all of our members, whether that's actual like hands-on coaching or it's just a program that we wrote for you. Maybe the onboarding process when you come to book a sauna or join a membership, we ask what equipment you might have access to at home. Maybe you have a dumbbell, maybe you go to a gym with a full equipment, or maybe it's just body weight stuff. We'll already have programs ready to go that we can just add that as an additional value, either offer it free with memberships or as an add-on. So really eliminating a lot of the roadblocks that people have, whether it's access, whether it's financial, have a little something, a little solution for everybody. So those are some of the changes.
Probably busy when like everyone's all done, but what's the calendar? So hard to
Other than just less full.
So you drag it through there. Good morning. It is about 6. It's about 7:30. Over here at We Sweat West Seattle. This is the business that we purchased and we'll be converting over to Spacebar Wellness. So give you a little bit of a tour. So this is a little front lobby area. I'm gonna kind of redo all this, have the check-in desk over here. Maybe wall this off. This culture is a lot more quiet than kind of what we like to do. We appreciate a bit more of a social setting. So aesthetically, needs work. This used to be an old office building that they converted into a lot of different sauna studios. So there are several rooms, 6 rooms in total, with pretty nice infrared saunas. Some are full spectrum, some are just far infrared. But you can kind of see just the aesthetic of the space is a little, I mean, it's all right. It's all right. We're going to work with it. There's one thing to remember, at least for myself, is that the health of the business should be about profitability and kind of what value you're offering your customers. Branding is important and aesthetic is important. However, we get lost in the sauce a lot of the times and we get caught up with brands. I know I have in the past that look a certain type of way, and just because they look a certain type of way, you assume that they're doing well, and they're not. I know this firsthand. So here, rather than getting caught up in that, we do want to make it feel like us and look like the space bar. However, it's all about the business and making sure that it's sustainable, it's profitable, employees are taken care of, as well as the customers. And without that, the business doesn't exist. You'll limp along for months, years, and although I've said in the past, and it's not about the money, but the money is the blood of the business. We are in this capitalistic society. We are in this world. Time to embrace it. Here's yet another room. Most of the saunas are going to be multi people, so you can come in with couples. There's a solo sauna as well. But things like this, these white curtains, this little employee area, this is where we got to do a lot of the aesthetic work. I mean, simple things like putting a rod in instead of this wire. You got to go all black everything. Another room. We're in here early getting things heated up because it's a full day of appointments. And then back here we do have some cold plunges, which we are cleaning one right now. This is another thing that's not the most efficient, is the setup and filling and draining the tubs, but it's all good. And then back here, it's going to be a pretty large room. So this is where we are going to start doing these small group experiences. So people that are new to cold plunges can come and build a little social connection around it, as well as being coached by my brother in this case. And we'll start training up some other facilitators to help guide people through the cold plunge, because that's one of the big things that I think is going to be a differentiator between us, or at least what we like to do, is a lot more coaching support. People don't realize how intense of a experience getting into cold plunges, because everybody's doing it. They're taking the cool photo. They're taking the photo of them smiling. However, inside, they're having a traumatic experience because they don't know how to breathe or regulate their nervous system. So we want to deliver a lot more of the coaching experience, whether it's virtually through the Spacebar coaching app with videos that will walk you through how to breathe, how to regulate your nervous system, guide you through, say, a 1-minute cold plunge, 2-minute, 3 minutes, and just have all of that there. Or better yet, be able to be profitable enough so that we can actually hire coaches to be back here and be requested to guide somebody through it, so that you are having some assistance in down regulating your nervous system from this extreme fight or flight, versus just staying panicked, getting cold, and maybe having some of the benefits of getting cold. However, they're magnified when you're able to regulate your nervous system. I believe that cold plunges are less about getting cold and it's more about a practice of breath work, or at least it should be. Because when you get cold, your breath changes. If you just let your autonomic nervous system take over, this recovering protocol, this recovery tool that you're trying to use, is just putting you into a stressful sympathetic state, which you're not really getting much recovery from. However, if you are treating this as a breath work opportunity to regulate your breath, and you get into the cold as just the trigger to have you get this rep-in of sympathetic to parasympathetic, it becomes, again, a breath modality, and it allows you to flex that in a stressful space that is safe. So in my opinion, cold water immersion is more about the breath than it is about the cold. But anywho, I digress. And then outside, hopefully this is unlocked. Well, I'll give you a little peek through here. We have this big backyard. This is where we're gonna really hopefully put some money in for the summer. We're gonna put some cold tubs, a dry sauna out here, and then this will be a big social opportunity, because in the world of cold immersion and contrast therapy and sauna studios, when you have a brick and mortar space like this and you have these rooms, the price point needs to stay relatively high. There's places that are selling hour-long contrast therapy sessions where $110, $115, $150, and maybe that's what they need to continue to operate their business in a healthy manner. It becomes very unapproachable and unaccessible to people, and that's not what we want. We want to provide some access to this while also maintaining a healthy business. So how do you scale that? You create something that doesn't need to be so private, that is a little bit more social, that's you scale through volume of people using the services. So if we had this set up outside and we had like 2 or 3 tubs outside, as well as a larger dry sauna, didn't need to be all the staffing involved, and it was more of a social setting, we can have more volume there. We can have 10 to 15 people in the back chit-chatting, hanging out, having a good time, and lowering that price point down. So we're not playing the numbers game and volume in all areas. However, where can you open that up that not only are you playing the numbers game, but people are actually enjoying that because they enjoy the social aspect of it even more. So back in the back, that's what we hope to create. Just imagine, again, whether you're selling a session for $60, $75 in the private suite, maybe you can have a membership that allows people to come in for $25 in the back, but you're also capable of having 10 to 15 people back there. You see how now, on the hourly rate, you're going to be making significantly more amount, and you're not using the resources from staffing. Can maybe be a bring your own towel back there, so we're not utilizing resources in regards to towels and all that. So there's just ways to go about it. But bottom line, this business I think is going to be pretty healthy. We're close to where we need to be, and we haven't even unlocked the access to our network of 1,300 gym members that are 2 blocks down, all of our customers at the Fit Bar that are 2 blocks down, and haven't really announced that we are the new owners of this business. So I think once we do, it's game on, baby. So now it's like time to really figure out the systems, obviously, that we want to have, so that when we do scale up and we do bring on new clients and new members, that we can actually take care of them safely. But anywho, time for me now to work on the sauna a little bit, put it in commercial mode so we don't have to always be running back here, turning it on every 60 minutes. So let's get that done. Sauna's on, cold plunge cleaned. Now it's time to go get a little coffee over at Freshies. This feels great being back home in West Seattle. Born and raised here in this small community. Let's go get a little coffee over at Freshies. Woo-saw a little bit. I haven't been able to do my morning breath work, so maybe I'll find a corner here and get it done. 75 degrees today. I am not mad at that. That's why we're here. That's why we're paying these sunshine tax. Straight off the plane, heading straight to the house. I've got a training client starting at 11, so I'll be pulling up at 10:30. He usually gets there a little early. We have a little coffee prior to our training session, catch up. He's training every single day, so this is one of my ride or dies. One hell of a commute. A commute that I'm actually very used to. I used to make this commute from LA to Seattle every single week for years, like 3 or 4 years almost. And life cruised by really quickly when flying that frequently. So I'm kind of in a situation right now where I might be doing that a little bit more. I don't fully have to, because there's a lot of work that I can do remotely to contribute to the new business that we bought in Seattle and some of the other things that we have going on. Like we invested in a 5-plex, so there's tenant issues potentially, trying to find the flow of that. My brother Andrew's heavily kind of taking all that on, and want to be a part in supporting that and seeing what I can do without having to like be up there all the time, because it does get expensive to fly this frequently, as well as normalcy is living a life is tough down here as well. So I found a new kind of fresh start for 2024, and I really don't want to jump right back into past habits of just being busy and not being the most efficient, because you can easily do that. You definitely need to be up there and show a little face and help support in the transition of the rebranding, as well as letting people know who we are as new owners and kind of our philosophy. And you can do that virtually, but it's a lot easier in person. But I don't want to become like dependent on to hold down shifts or do certain things like that, because I've done that for a long time. And it's not to say that I'm never going to do it again, but a lot of times falling into those same patterns is just out of like I don't know, maybe feelings and projecting on how someone might be viewing me, or if they're not thinking that I'm working hard enough because I'm physically not there. And that's all a narrative that we get caught up in, especially coming from a blue collar background, where your value is literally on how often you can work. Sure, there's productivity and rewards that come alongside that, but physically being there and putting in work is what you are valued for. And now, being in this side of business and owning and operating, that mentality does not serve you. You shouldn't, proving of your work ethic is less about actually physically being there and grinding and working and showing up. And it's more about managing, delegating, and doing things to move the needle forward on the business. Things that maybe an employee that's there working isn't quite ready for, or does not want to take the responsibility for. Ultimately that's on us, and that's what we should be doing. And we do that, but we also play a role in the businesses, holding down shifts. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't. I'm just saying there's other things for us to do, and we can't not do those other things. So we have to do those. So if we're also holding down shifts to try to save on payroll or whatever it might be, that comes directly at the consequence of our life, of living our life, of taking a day off, getting a training session in, getting a ride in, getting a workout in. That's where we take the hit, and it becomes the norm. And then you just accept it as what it is, and you start telling yourself, like all your clients tell you or new prospects tell you, that they just don't have time for these things. And that's bullshit. We've just made it our norm and put some of these self-care practices or enjoyment of life things on the back burner. And I've done that for a very long time. I've played the martyr, and haven't really allowed those around me to help the way that I could have. And I got to a place where shit was horrible, and I have had a couple weeks of it not being like that, and it's pretty nice, and I want to really fight the pull to go right back into it, as sick as that sounds, and how much I say that I hated the way that the life that I was living. I was surrounded by awesome people doing cool things, but personally, my life, I had no life outside of that. All my hobbies went away. My training still, limped along. However, it was way harder than it needed to be because you're squeezing it in. It ain't got to be that way. So, but with all that being said, those patterns and those grooves are so deep with me that as much as I did not like that life I was living, I can feel it calling me to get right back in there, because we want to know. And even though, we do not like living a cycle of like what we might call a hell, we would just subconsciously still choose that because we know what that feels like. So I'm really trying not to. Even just like vlogging and taking videos is an effort to kind of fill some of the time that might be idle, that I can maybe embrace as a hobby and hopefully enjoy a little bit. Editing kind of sucks, so I end up taking a lot more videos than I actually put out or do anything with. But you get the idea. I'm trying to replace the dullness. I mean, again, it's not even dull. I just don't even know what to do with it. It's what would probably be normal for other people. It's just like boredom or things that I'm not actually doing, which is normal. We should have downtime. I just don't really know what to do with the downtime. In the past, I would just be researching stuff, what I still really enjoy, so I do that. However, I need to embrace some hobbies. Hence the Los Angeles Marathon and training for that, which led into this little strain. So it's like, okay, can't really run right now. What do I do? Still want to continue to train. So now I went on this rabbit hole of trying to find a road bike. So I'm gonna probably try to pull the trigger on a road bike and just continue my training via that method. But point is, these could be hobbies and could be fun and could be the way that I spend my day outside doing what I need to for the businesses. So really, really trying to focus on balance and hanging on to normalcy and enjoying life, because I'll tell everyone else that work is not everything. It sure as hell is not. So it just takes effort to find that balance. When your businesses are rooted in things that you really enjoy, which are health and wellness, and you like spreading that and learning about different things in that space, your hobbies just kind of merge. The lines get really, really blurred. So that's what I'm working on here on this LA commute, but we're not too far, so I'll check back in later. Well, that is a wrap, and if you made it this far, you might just really be into what's going on behind the scenes of a holistic hustler. And if you do, go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave me a comment as well, and let me know what you got going on. If you have any questions about what it's like to operate a brick and mortar business, I am an open book. I have opened and I have closed businesses. I've learned a lot along the way, and I would love to share any insight that I might have. So yeah, go ahead, like, subscribe. More videos to come, maybe just as long, maybe shorter. I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing.